I want to address my Malaysian friends that are watching this video. I want you to understand that your Dawah guys have been lying to you. Your leaders, your imams, the Dawah Dorks, all of them are lying to you. And I'm going to prove it. Okay? And here's how I'm going to prove it. The Quran, without a doubt, unequivocally confirms the inspiration, preservation, and authority of the gospel that Christians had with them at the time of Muhammad, and it also confirms the Torah. So it really confirms the book, what the Quran calls the people of the book. That's Christians. And there are 12 verses. I urge you, my dear Muslim friends that are watching this video, I challenge you. There are 12 verses in your book, the Quran, that mention the gospel by name. 12. Find me one verse of the 12 that says the gospel has been corrupted or the gospel has been lost, anything like that, anything that you actually believe. You believe your Dawah Dorks when they tell you that the gospel has been corrupted. You can't trust it. Oh, there might be some good stuff left in the gospel, but you can't trust any of it. Oh, the Torah, yeah, that's been corrupted too. You can't trust the Torah. But your book says the exact opposite of what your Dawah leaders are telling you. Your God, Allah, in the book, the Quran, confirms the inspiration, preservation, and authority of the gospel message, and it commands Christians to judge by the book. Now, I want to read just a couple of passages to you, my dear Muslim friends, my dear Malaysian friends that are watching this video, and you tell me how these verses in the Quran teach that the gospel has been corrupted. Should you believe your Dawah guys or should you believe the Quran? Okay, just a couple. I'm not going to go through all 12. I have a video somewhere on the channel where I go through all 12, but I'm just going to read a couple of passages. And you tell me if Allah is telling you that the gospel has been corrupted. This is Surah 7, 156 and 157. So does the Quran affirm the Torah that was available at the time of Muhammad and the gospel that was in usage at the time? Or does this Quranic verse teach that the gospel has been corrupted? Here's what your book says in Surah 7, 156 and 157. I will write down my mercy for those who are righteous and give alms and who believe in our signs, who follow the apostle, the unlettered prophet, assume that's Muhammad, whom they find written in the Torah and the gospel that is with them. The Torah and the gospel that is with them. Muhammad is in the Torah and the gospel that is with them. Now, what part of that verse says that the gospel has been corrupted? Does this verse not say that, hey, you can trust the Torah and the gospel that they have with them, which means Christians had the Bible in the 7th century with them. It wasn't corrupted. Why would Muhammad say, look at a corrupted book and you're going to find Prophet Muhammad? Why in the world would Allah tell people to look through a corrupted book to prove that Muhammad was a prophet? What Allah is saying is you can trust the Torah and the gospel that they have with them because Muhammad's in there. There's only one slight problem with that. Muhammad is not anywhere to be found in the Torah and the gospel. But the point is made. Allah thinks that you can trust the Torah and the gospel that they had in the 7th century. And guess what, my dear friends? We have manuscripts that prove 100% without a doubt that the same Torah and the same gospel that Christians had at the time of Muhammad is the same gospel that's in the Bible. The same Torah and gospel that was with them is the same Torah and gospel that is with us. And why would Muhammad tell you to check in a book that was corrupted or has disappeared? Now, many of my Muslim friends say, hey, you can't find the Torah and the gospel. What Muhammad talked about in the Quran, those books have been lost. They've been disappeared. They're nowhere to be found.
Where did it go? I can't find it. No. I can't find it. Will you help me find it?
Well, why does Allah disagree with your Dawah Dorks? Do you agree with your Dawah Dorks that the gospel has been lost? The Torah has been lost? The gospel has been corrupted. The Torah has been corrupted. That's what they say. But your book says the exact opposite. If Allah was trying to tell you that the Torah and the gospel were corrupted by commanding you to look through them and see Muhammad in them, that is the stupidest way ever to tell you that a book has been corrupted. Okay? Let's just read one more verse. Now, is this verse telling you, my dear Malaysian friends, that the Torah and the gospel have been corrupted? You be the judge. It is He, God, who sent down the book in truth, attesting to what is between His hands, and the Torah and the gospel before this is a guide to mankind. This verse states that the Quran confirms the Torah and the gospel that is with them between their hands. They had in their possession the Torah and the gospel. Not only that, Allah says it's inspired by Him. So the Quran confirms the inspiration, preservation, and authority of the gospel that Christians had with them at the time of Muhammad. Why in the world would Allah tell you that the gospel and the Torah have been corrupted, or the gospel has been corrupted, by telling you that I sent this book down? It's with them and it's a guidance for all mankind. That's a silly way of telling you that the gospel has been corrupted. Now, I know this is what you believe, because this is what you have been taught by your Dawah Dorks and your imams and your Muslim leaders. But the Quran, Allah says the exact opposite. So what Muslims do is they take their theology that was written 200 to 300 years after the time of Muhammad in the Abbasid period. Okay, all the commentaries, the hadiths, the tafsirs were written, everything that you go by, you don't go by the Quran, or you would believe the Quran when it says that the gospel is inspired, preserved, and authoritative over and over and over. In fact, there are 18 verses in the Quran that confirm the Bible that Christians had with them at the time of Muhammad. 18 confirm. In other words, yes, the Quran says those books are true, what they have with them in their possession. So it is impossible for the Apostle Paul to have corrupted the gospel, because the gospel that the Christians had according to the Quran is the same gospel that we have today. It hasn't been changed. Paul didn't corrupt the gospel. Your book confirms the gospel. Your book confirms what Paul wrote. So you have a problem. Who are you going to believe? The Dawah Dorks? Or are you going to believe your book? But you run into a little problem because, yes, your book over and over and over confirms the gospel, confirms the book, confirms the Torah, and yet the Quran contradicts what's within the gospel and the Torah. So, what is a Muslim to do? You are stuck, my dear Muslim friend. Either scenario, if we have the Bible and if the gospel has not been corrupted, Islam is false. Why? Because it contradicts the very books that it says is true. Jesus died on a cross. He rose from the dead. He is the Son of God in the flesh. But the Quran says the exact opposite of that, so it contradicts the same book that it says is true, which means Islam is false. If we have the book, if we have the gospel, it's the Quran says Islam is false. But what if the gospel has been corrupted? Does that make Islam true? No. Why? Because it confirms what we have. If the Bible is true, Islam is false. And if the Bible is corrupted, Islam is false. It seems to be a dilemma for Islam.